Hello.
All right, here we go. Confidence Conversations with Idara. And today, the conversation is with the lovely Adrienne Wilkerson. Adrienne, thank you so much for making the time to join me in this conversation.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I must say that I was very honored to get the ask, so thank you.
My pleasure. I'll start with an introduction before we get into the usual questions that I ask. And it was a delight reviewing your background. You know, we've talked in general about what's current and what's present, and I'm aware of that, but it was impressive to learn sort of the cross-sector nature of your work. So currently, you're a senior executive in strategic engagement, which entails marketing, communication, advocacy, and development. And so a higher level on strategic engagement in general. Your background, this nonprofit sector, and your background before this was a couple of director and marketing roles in branches of the military. That was new to me, and we hadn't talked about that part of it, but another aspect of the work that you had done. And prior to that, also in marketing, but this time in media, specifically in a magazine. In addition to that, you're an associate professor of marketing. So you're not only doing the work, you're teaching the work.
Yeah. So I will start with the professorship. I became a professor when I moved out here to San Diego, and it was a long time dream of mine to do that. And when I entered the classroom, I went in with the mindset of I'm not here just to teach, I'm also here to learn.
Yeah.
So it's really a great experience and exchange between me as a professor and the students because they're also business professionals. And it's been a very enriching experience for me that I deeply value as a part of my career.
That's incredible. I could see how it would be really a mutually educational experience, a rewarding experience, people who are living it and in the class learning from each other. There's a lot to be said for learning in community for sure. You're engaging in the community in an academic way. In the course of work, one of the things that we talked about briefly was advocacy and development and how under that umbrella of strategic engagement, besides the marketing focus, both development and advocacy are included in your work. And I wanted to know what the difference was between advocacy and development.
Thank you. So with advocacy, it's all about public service, working with local, state, federal officials and their staff, looking at policies that impact the organization that you work for and the people that you serve within that organization, how local regulations, state regulations, policies, how they impact the community, the people that we serve, the children and the families that we're ensuring that need to be taken care of. And so on the advocacy level, it's about building relationships and making an impact in different ways with policy and regulation and laws. And then advocating your voice, lifting your voice as an organization to have an impact in different areas, right? An organization may be vocal about early childhood education, or an organization may be vocal about what's happening with behavioral health. And so that's what advocacy is all about, coalition building with similar organizations, like organizations and things of that nature. Now, development is all about fundraising and funding. And the beauty of that area is genuine relationship building with supporters of your mission in the community, people that believe in the work that you're doing in the community. They want to be a part of it. They want to support it. They want to make a positive impact on the people as well. And so development is all about bringing in funding to support the mission. And so these two areas work really well
Yeah, I
together.
can see
And
that.
it's all about the people, the
Mhm.
community,
Yeah.
and supporting the work of a better community for all of us.
Thank you for that explanation. It helps to make the connection and see where there is connection between the two. Where in development, these are people who are going to support the work. They have to be aware of it, however, and see the impact and know exactly how their contributions are making a difference. Where on the advocacy side, although by nature of working in a space where you are focused on the social well-being of the community, that in itself entails advocacy, but it sounds like it's really about the mechanisms of ensuring that the systems that are in place are actually working
Mhm,
the benefit of the people who they're designed to help. So the
mhm.
policies and the policy makers being
Yes.
involved in ensuring that these things actually take place. Thank you.
You
That's helpful too.
Advocacy is so important
Yeah,
because
for sure.
sometimes the lawmakers, they're not in the community
Mm-hmm,
with the
mm-hmm.
people. So they don't necessarily see the impact of the policies and the laws that they're passing, or
Mhm.
they may not necessarily know that although something was implemented and it sounded good, um, realistically, it's not effective,
Yes, so what's
right?
the reality
So
on ground?
on ground it's
Mhm.
not working well, or there could be some changes in the way that it's done. And so people, that work within advocacy, like myself and others, we have the opportunity to be the voice
Mhm.
of, people that we're serving, and then to take those experiences back to our policymakers so they know what's happening on the ground.
Yeah.
And then going back to development, something that I wanted to mention as well is, in addition to supporters in the community, development is also comprised of a lot of foundations that support the work and grants on the
Mhm.
local, state, and federal level. And so there's definitely some intersections there between advocacy and development as
Yeah,
well,
I
because
can see that.
development, again, is all about how are we funding the work, and advocacy is about, how is it impacting the people? How are the policies and the legislation impacting the people?
Thank you. So that's a lot of important and meaningful work that you are experiencing on a regular basis. And on the surface, when we think of marketing and communications, it's not the first thing that comes to mind, but it ties into conveying those messages as well. How the story is told, that it's told in a way that resonates is so important. And that's been a big part, just communications in general, and ensuring that communication is happening has been a big part of the work that you've done. And even though I've done that introduction from media to military to the nonprofit sector, I still wanted to pause because if there's any aspect of your work and the professorship, if there's any aspect of your career that I've not covered, I want to be sure that we get a chance to talk about that as well. What did I
Thank
miss?
you. So I like to say that I'm a Southern girl on the West Coast, right? So I am from South Georgia, but somehow I ended up out here in beautiful San Diego, California. So I left Georgia fairly young, and I went to college in New York, and I studied marketing. And after that, I went back home to Georgia, and I started my marketing career actually in sales.
Mm,
And I worked at a department store at the time in sales. And I did that for a little while. And then I made the leap to media.
mm,
And that's where my marketing and communications really began to blossom, and I got a chance to get real-time experience in working with business owners, learning about the things that they needed from a communications and marketing perspective, and how I could help them in my role. And that's where I really began to understand the importance of trust between
yeah.
an individual that is delivering services to a business owner. And I was blessed to garner a lot of my clients' trust, because even though I was in a sales role, I did what was best for them and their business. And that allowed me to grow a very good reputation at the media organization I was with. And it allowed me to grow my territory as well. And I also received two promotions at the time while I was at that media organization. And so that is the foundation of my career. And I learned a lot during that time.
That is awesome. And I do find in the what I've known about you in the short time that we've had the pleasure of getting to know ourselves is that you the work that you do, the way that you work is recognized. And while that's not it's not always automatic, it is promoted, that you are put in a position to spread that impact by being in a higher leadership role. It's something that's really appreciated and valued, which is excellent, and oftentimes a testament to also working in the right places. It sounds as though in the course of your career, you have managed to hold on to being very much yourself, being true to you, which in turn the people that are working with you and the people that you serve get to experience. I would say it takes a high degree of confidence to do that, to be yourself across changing circumstances, Georgia, New York, Georgia, San Diego, cross sectors. How would you define confidence? What does confidence mean to you?
I would say first and foremost that confidence is trusting in my own abilities and allowing God to lead me through that process with the belief, knowledge, and understanding that I am very capable.
Yeah. I'm writing it down. Love it.
You are so funny.
Trusting in your own abilities with your belief in God and knowing that you are capable
Yes. And trusting him to lead me,
to lead.
through my decision making. Yeah.
That is awesome.
One of the things that I thought about was how has my confidence been built throughout life?
Yeah.
And I would say my family, myself, and God. And I say my family first because my mother has always taught that esteem and confidence matter, and that we should hold ourselves in high esteem and carry ourselves as such. And so having confidence in myself is something that was instilled in me as a very young girl, and I've carried that with me throughout life. Now, how I've maintained my confidence is through growth, through learning, through challenges, and allowing God to pour into me during times where I don't feel as confident, and reaching out to very close family and friends that have the ability to speak life into me when those times are needed to help me remember who I am.
Very powerful.
Yeah, because I think even the most confident of us, there are times when life is challenging and it will challenge us to the core. And I think during that time, it is so important to have individuals around us who genuinely care about us, who know who we are,
Yes.
that can speak into us, that can uplift us, encourage us, because we need that, right? It's like shake you and help you to remember.
Yeah.
And then it helps you to come back into
Come back.
yourself.
Yep.
And so I would say that is how my confidence has been built and sustained throughout life.
A little bit later on, I was going to ask about confidence boost, but it sounds as though what we've just talked about really is anytime you need that reminder, and I use the word reminder because that often is what it is, like you described. It's like reminding you who you are in a way that just helps to ground you again.
Yes.
Helps to boost your confidence.
Yes.
The people who know you.
I love the word grounded.
Yes. because that's what we need. That's the effect that it has. Things will change around you, challenges will come, circumstances will evolve. But if you know how to remain grounded,
Yes.
get back to who you are, all of those have less of an impact than they would, as opposed to if you've lost your way somehow. So in talking about the boost with family and friends, people who know you or who have known you for a while, with those reminders in challenging times, but perhaps even just in general, are there any other confidence boosts that you use when you do have those challenges? Or it's not even the challenges so much, it's how you are feeling in that moment, how you are experiencing. That's really what makes it challenging. Any other mechanisms for boosting your confidence?
Absolutely. So a very easy one. My mother always said, when you look good, you feel good. And she was a strong advocate, or is a strong advocate for, even if you don't feel your best, it doesn't mean you don't have to look your best.
Right, right.
Right. And so when I think about confidence, I believe that the way that I carry myself is important.
Yes.
And before it's important to the world, it's important to me. It's important to me how I present myself, how I represent myself, how I carry myself, and what I show and offer to the world. So that is a very quick and easy one, right? When you look good, you feel good.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing that I would say, a quick confidence boost, is honestly calling the person that I call my sister cousin. And I say, hey, this is happening. This is how I'm feeling. I need you to speak life into me. And we have such a connection that in that very moment, she is able to pick up where I'm at and speak life right then and there into that moment. So I am one that I lean on my faith a lot. And I believe that there is power in the tongue. I believe that words carry power. And so when mentally or emotionally there may be a challenge, if I am not within myself able to speak to that thing, I am going to call somebody that can speak to it for me and use the power of their voice and the power of words.
That's very powerful. You've touched on a number. First of all, thank you, sister cousin, for being there, for being the one. Thank you, sister cousin. And then the message from your mom, which you mentioned earlier, but then again, what a powerful influence to have in you. We don't always have articulated the importance of esteem and confidence. I don't know that everyone gets that message, but it is important. And it does matter. How you feel about yourself makes a big difference. And in turn, especially if you step into leadership roles, it affects the experience of people around you. So you really do first have to sort yourself out, in a manner of speaking. But the hold your head high, figuratively and literally, really does, it makes a difference how you're showing up. And then when you look good, you feel good. The number one strategy that I wrote in the confidence talk was suit up. The shortest cut. Yes, you have to be okay on the inside, but just step out looking good. Step out looking good. Put on the look of what you want to convey. Suit up. And then
suit up. I like that. Suit up.
Number one. That's the number one strategy. I was doing a talk not that long ago, and one of the people asked me, what's the number one strategy that you recommend? He said most of the others will take longer. So I would say the very first thing, suit up. Love the way that you're looking when you walk out.
Agreed.
Make sure that it's conveying. It really does. It does matter. And what's a time in your career equipped with all of this inside you and around you? Sister, cousin, family, mom's words. What's a time where confidence has made a difference in your career?
There are many times indeed.
Mm,
I would say most recently
mm.
the promotion into my current role.
Congratulations.
Um, in order to step into this position, I really needed to believe in myself. This is my first executive role.
Mhm.
Although I've been in leadership
Yeah.
for a very long time,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
I was at the director level for a very long time. I was a leader for a very long time. I've led teams, I've done the work, I've been in trainings and all the things, but this is my first executive role.
mhm.
And so, in order to step into this role, I really had to believe that I am capable of doing the work and not just doing the work, believing that I can lead teams to exceed in the expectations that have been presented to
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Yeah,
It really does make a difference because what would happen otherwise is you may decide not to put your name in the hat for the role and just miss
agreed.
out on the opportunity altogether. That
Yeah.
does take confidence.
It does. It does. And especially when there are things that are new to you within that role.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you're stepping into a role that you're very familiar with.
Hmm,
You've done it.
hmm.
Maybe you're just doing it at a different organization,
Yeah, yeah,
right? You've been doing it for years. So you can do it like the back of your hand.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know it.
Uh-huh.
No question. But when it's something new,
Yeah,
having the confidence to challenge yourself, to
yeah.
step out there and say, you know what? I'm going to be okay. This door was open for me, and I am going to trust that it is for me. And it's my time to step through it. And what I do not know, I will
You
learn.
can learn. You have that capability.
Yes.
I'm glad you had that conversation with yourself, man.
Yeah. It was necessary.
Yes, yes. And it puts you in a position to spread that influence and impact and also to do it in the way that you do, to lead in a way that is just very Adrian to do. And talking about leading, you have an official executive title. And like you said yourself, you've been a leader for a long time. You've been in formal leadership roles for a long time. In your role as associate professor, you're teaching leaders. So you've been in and around leadership. And yet, what I've seen in spaces where title did not come up, you are still always leading. So you lead without requiring the title. You know, I'm sure your title is kind of catching up to the fact that you are already a leader. What would you say are the attributes of a leader? To be even more specific, a leader such as yourself, specifically because you lead everywhere you go and it really doesn't, it's not dependent on title. I've seen it.
I love this question. So some of the attributes when I think about myself as a leader and what makes a good leader, one of the most basic skills is the first thing that comes to my mind, which is the ability to listen.
Mm,
The ability to listen, the ability to be teachable and to learn,
mhm,
knowing how to engage with those that you serve with empathy and respect.
mhm.
I believe that that is deeply important when it comes to leadership.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can manage,
Yes.
but every manager is not necessarily a good leader.
Mhm.
And I believe that empathy and respect is a big part of that. Um, being able to be wrong and the ability to course correct
Mhm.
when identified.
Yes.
I think that's also important
Mhm.
as a leader. There are many times where I tell my team, you know what? You're right. Yeah, I think we should change the strategy
Yeah.
and take a look at this direction. That may be a better course of action for us. Or I got that wrong.
Yeah.
I apologize. I think that's very important. And I'm going to tell you the number one leadership role in my life where I learned the power of apology and course correction
Mhm.
is being a mother.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Being a mother, I talk to my son, I give him the space to, bring his things to me.
Mhm.
And, in his growing up experience, I said, you know what? I am so sorry, son. And my son told me, he said, I respect you so much because a lot of parents will never apologize.
Yeah.
And I would say that's the number one leadership role in my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of those irreplaceable ones, like we
Yes.
tell people.
And another thing I think that and I think this is a strong area for me is the willingness to explore and try new things, try new ideas.
Hmm. Yes,
And
that's very important.
very important, right? Exploration.
Yes,
And if it doesn't work, okay, but we don't have to be stuck in the same way of doing things because we've always
always done
done
it.
it
Yeah.
that way.
And a leader that is willing and able to explore opens up the possibility of adapting and being responsive and maybe even agile, to borrow the term, for an organization.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's almost a cloak of being responsible, but it's avoiding risk. It's the fear of what is out there. It's a fear of failing that often will make people not want to try something different. But then it leaves in a leadership role, the stakes are so much higher for the organization because now it
Yes.
leaves the organization in what they hope is a safe place, but it ends up being stagnant. You don't discover new things. You have to be willing. That's a really great call out. Everything that you said is so relevant and important, and it's reflected in how you lead. Listen, be teachable, engage with empathy and respect, be able to course correct, be okay with being wrong. That one is so, so important.
Mhm.
Talk about establishing trust with people. If you're willing to say, I was wrong, and to apologize when you are wrong or have caused harm in some way, to not make it about ego, fosters trust in the team, that you're not going to stick with something just because.
Mhm.
You'd rather everyone was right and okay rather than be an individual just insisting. That's very important. Be able to apologize. And then this last one, the willingness to explore.
And you know what else I would add to that? The strength and the trust in yourself to make difficult calls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leadership is not always pretty
No.
and it doesn't always feel good.
Mm-mm.
And sometimes we have to make very difficult and challenging calls.
Mm-hmm. And it may not be in any way the popular call. Yeah. Which is also where confidence comes in.
Yes.
Sometimes people make it seem as if confidence is about braggadocio, or being loud or showing up loud. It is understand certainly that you can rely on yourself and knowing your skills and your capability. And in knowing what's driving you, recognizing when you need to stand on that, represent it. It won't always be easy. It won't always be the popular choice, even when it's the right one.
I agree. I agree with that 100% because I've lived it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know the experience of having to make those difficult, unpopular
Yeah.
calls and
Yeah.
make those decisions. Which leads me to my next thought. An effective leader knows how to follow.
Mm,
And I am now in an experience of my career where I work with a leader
mm-hmm,
who has this individual is a very big visionary.
mm-hmm,
And I have been able to utilize my strength of strategy and
mm-hmm,
execution.
mm-hmm.
And so I've been able to flourish and do well because I see my leader. I see where my leader is going. I listen,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm able to follow my leader's direction and then execute the mission,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm successful in executing the mission, that allows that her trust for me to grow
Yeah.
because she sees that I can follow her direction
Mm-hmm.
and execute.
Yes.
And I think that being a good leader, I think that's a part of it,
Yes.
right? We're
Agree.
not just
Agree.
always operating out of our own volition with
Mm-hmm.
no checks and balances,
Right. Right.
right? As leaders,
You're
we have,
working on behalf of others.
that's right. That's
You're
right.
working on behalf of others. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And when you embody the mission, when you believe what we all gathered here to do in a manner of speaking, that's part of what then has you take what's being said and translate it into the necessary action because you
Yeah.
believe it and you're doing this based on what you believe. When you say it like that, it just sounds like something we can do, but it takes conviction. It takes truly believing in yourself and this excellent point that you've made, the willingness to learn and the willingness to follow. We are working on behalf of others. And I think that's where the expression servant leader came from,
Yes.
that
Agree.
it's on behalf of others. You may have the title, certainly, but at some point, your role becomes about removing barriers and making sure that what we gathered here to do can be done. It's not about you as an individual, it's really about being able to execute on the mission.
Mm-hmm.
In all of the things that we've talked about, which I suspect that every aspect of this, if I repeat one, we're going to have another conversation sprout from it.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I love about everything that you described is that conviction, the belief in what it is that you're doing, and also never losing sight of who you are. And where it is easy to, well, it might seem easy to just kind of follow along with what seems like the popular thing to do in order to be popular in the moment. It not only takes a degree of confidence, but I would say a degree of boldness to simply be you in every space where you go.
Mm-hmm.
You've recently had a significant promotion, but I'll ask the question nonetheless. What's your next bold move?
I'd say my next bold move would be to join another local nonprofit organization board
Mm,
so that I can be of service
mm-hmm.
in an even greater capacity.
Yeah,
I really enjoy working in the nonprofit space.
yeah.
And I believe that joining a board to be of service to others would be fulfilling. Um, and I think that would be probably my next bold move.
Okay. I'll consider it done. You've spoken it, you've said it, so let it be written, so
Amen.
let it be done.
So let it be done. I like it.
Oh my. Adrienne, thank you so much. I have enjoyed this conversation and the insights that you have shared, the nuggets that you have shared. I am again grateful that you're not only in a leadership role and in the community, but also in a teaching role, because it's very helpful for people to see themselves reflected in the professor, see their values reflected in the professor, even if they're in industry, or even better yet, if it's early, so that people know you can indeed bring your values to the work and translate it and make it such that the work is being done in a way that is meaningful, that is true, that is impactful, that really does rightfully earn the trust of the people that we serve, because all of us have people on the other end of everything that it is that we
That's
are
right.
doing. So thank you again for your time, your information, your knowledge, and just bringing your beautiful spirit to this conversation.
Thank you so much. And before we end, I'd like to just give you your flowers. Um, I believe in surrounding myself with wise women,
Mm,
women who I consider to be wise. I believe being wise is a blessing from God. And having mentors and individuals that you're able to lean on when you're going through some of these leadership situations, I think is key. And you are one of those individuals for me, a wise woman. And I just want to say thank you for being you, and thank you for this opportunity. I sincerely appreciate it.
thank you so much, Adrienne. That is beautiful and an honor to hear from an esteemed leader such as yourself. Thank you. I'm glad we did this, and
Yes,
we'll gather again after you're on that board and just raise a quick toast before you get back to all the things that you are doing to make a difference in our community.
I like it.